So tell me why I go to Publix on my lunch or whatever. So this guy here approaches me. He's like, oh my gosh, you're very beautiful. What's your name? And I'm like, thank you. Mercedes. He was like, are you single? Are you taken? I was like, no, I'm single. He was like, do you mind, if I get your number, I'll like take you out sometime. And I was like, I appreciate that, but I'm not really in the headspace that why he just walk off.
I was having a conversation with one of my girlfriends the other day, and she was telling me how she has a male friend who she's interested in romantically. And I said, have you said anything to him? And she was like, no. And I said, why not? And she said, well, he should get my hints. And I said, hints? What hints? She's like, I mean, the way I act around him and da da da, all this stuff. And I was like, the way you act around him? Like, what do you mean? And she's like, he should see that I like him. And I was just like, so why don't you just tell him that you like him? And she's like, well, I don't do that. I don't chase men. And I was like, I like chasing men and letting a man know that you're interested in him are two different things. Chasing a man is once he knows that you like him and he's still not giving you any type of time of day or whatever. He kind of has you just kind of lingering over here. Letting a man know, and I don't necessarily mean like, hey, I like you, but giving him some subtle hints at least to let him know that you like him is two totally different things. And I was like, so how do you think he's going to know that you like him if you never say anything? She's like, well, he's going to have to figure it out. And I had to tell her, like, in this day and time, men are not approaching women, which is really weird to me. But I had to sit back and think, like, why aren't men approaching women? And I've come up with the thought of maybe it has to do with COVID and the Me Too movement. COVID, we were in the house for a year and a half by ourselves. And so we've just kind of learned how to, one, be by ourselves. And two, the Me Too movement, let me tell you something. If you talk or get with the wrong woman, they can ruin your whole life. I mean, just look at Shannon Sharp. He just lost his job at ESPN because he wanted some little young OnlyFans model who he was in a relationship with, but then
men are finally saying what women don't want to hear. See, when a guy gets up and walks away, it's not always disrespect. Sometimes it's the most respectful thing he could do, because instead of playing games or leading her on, he decided not to waste her time or his own. But here's the kicker. Women love to say men don't pick up on hints. Meanwhile, the hints are so subtle you'd need a PhD in body language just to notice them. Modern dating feels like a test with invisible instructions. And if a man doesn't magically decode the signals, suddenly he's slow, clueless, or not confident enough. Here's the reality. A lot of men are just done with the guessing games. We live in a culture where women are terrified of rejection, so they hide behind indirect cues, hoping the man will somehow read their mind. And when he doesn't, she blames him, not her lack of clarity. This is why so many guys are pulling back. They're tired. Dating fatigue is real, because instead of honest communication, hey, I like you, or no, I'm not interested, everything has to be wrapped in mystery, ego, or pride. At this point, can you blame men for staying home? They'd rather have peace than deal with constant mixed signals. Before we dive in, drop a comment. Are modern men more delusional, or is it the ladies? Hit like and subscribe so you don't miss what we expose next.
I think, gentlemen, if I'm wrong, let me know. But this is just my thought process, that men are just kind of like just being cautious. Like, yeah, I'm not approaching women because also in the day of social media, women will do dumb things like posting on social media and be like, oh, look at this guy, he tried to talk to me, oh, he's weird, so it's like, I think men are just like, I'm good. Like, if you're interested, let me know. But other than that, I'm just going to keep it moving. That's how I perceive it. And honestly, if I was a man, that's probably how I would perceive it too. Because, like I said, women would be like, he sexually assaulted me. Blanche, all he did was touch your elbow. Now everything is creepy, everything is a sexual assault, everything is unwanted attention. Men would usually be like, "Hi, how you doing? Smile. Oh, you look good today." Now women are like, "What do you mean? Why are you smiling at me? What do you mean I look good today?" Everything is taken so out of context. So yeah, if I was a man, I wouldn't say anything to women. I'm gonna keep it moving unless you stop me and be like, "Hey, I like you." I'd be like, "All right, keep it moving." So fellas, let me know, am I off? Am I putting too much thought into this? Like I said, it was just my thought, because I was just trying to figure out like what has happened over the past few years, because before I could go anywhere. I could be at the gas station, the grocery store, walking down the street, and men would be like, they would stop me. "Hey, I find you attractive. Can I get your number?" Whatever. I get stares. They looking at me, I'm looking at him. They looking at me, I'm looking at him. And we looking like, are we gonna say anything? So yeah, that's my thought process. Let me know.
This right here is why men are walking away from the whole approach game. It's not fear, it's strategy. Think about it. In today's climate, one wrong move can cost a man his job, his reputation, even his freedom. With Me Too, false accusations, and what guys are calling nuclear rejection, where a simple no turns into public humiliation. Why would men risk it? And here's the kicker. Even when they do approach, half the time it's not because she actually wants him. It's because she wants the validation, the attention, another ego boost to screenshot for the group chat. Men are seeing through that now. They're realizing the game is rigged. It's not about connection. It's about her feeling wanted. And when guys start to feel like props in someone else's movie, that's when they check out. So now you've got women staring across the room, waiting for him to come over. Meanwhile, men are staring right back, thinking, nope, not worth the risk. It's a standoff. Nobody moves. Nobody wins. And honestly, that's the new normal. Men aren't desperate anymore. They'd rather protect their peace than chase validation seekers. If she's really interested, she can step up and say something. If not, he's just going to keep it moving.